And welcome to the Knowing Show. I am your host, Christene Marie. It is the 114th day of the year, and that is the lesson we will be learning today. We are in the middle of a review section in A Course in Miracles for those of you who are just joining with us for the first time. There's a whole textbook of A Course in Miracles. I've only read probably 80 to maybe 100 pages of it. It's very dense, but it has a daily lesson for every day of the year. And I've really been encouraged by it. I started reading it last year, and frankly, I didn't keep up with it every day. And so this was part of the reason why I started doing this show, was so that, this specific morning show was so that I would, for my own sake, be diligent and keep my word to myself. So that's part of the reason why we're here. And then it's unfolded into just be a real encouragement for myself and many others. So welcome for those of you who are new to the Knowing Show. I'm so glad you're here. The Knowing Show also has an evening segment, and that is where we talk about the integration of intellectual, emotional, and even artificial intelligence. Where does AI fit into the human being? So the ultimate purpose of the Knowing Show is the cultivation of you and me. So we talk about the 4 key intelligences, the very ones that make us human to begin with: emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and physical intelligence. Our body stores data. And even with the spirit, there's an element of, when people are like, I don't know how I knew that, but I did. That's what we refer to as spiritual intelligence. And so we talk about the different ones in these 2 segments, the morning show and the evening show. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I am going to go ahead and just start with a brief review of some of the preceding lessons leading up to today's. Again, we are in the middle of a review, looking at lessons 91 through lessons 101. So we'll be doing that over the next couple of days. So going back to some of the preceding lessons, lesson 91, miracles are seen in light. Lesson 92, miracles are seen in light and strength are one. Lesson 93, light and joy and peace abide in me. Lesson 94, I am as God created me. Lesson 95, I am one self united with my Creator. Lesson 96, salvation comes from my one self. Lesson 97, and we're going to be diving into this one today and the following. Lesson 97, I am spirit. I am the Son of God. Nobody can contain my spirit, nor impose on me a limitation God created not. Lesson 98, I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. What can my function be but to accept the word of God, who has created me for what I am and will forever be? Y'all, we've been talking about time really specifically in relation to this show over the last month. We've been talking about the fact that, if we were to, time is let's just pretend, right? Let's pretend that time is a linear track. And I've thought of it in kind of this way, and this is simplifying, frankly, for my own sake, because I like analogies. Considering time as kind of like a subway underground. And if you were to get outside of, get off the train, walk up the stairs, and actually stand on top, you would actually be able to have kind of this view that's high and outside of time. And you can see the end point, the start point, and everything in between. And when you're on the subway in the car, all you can see is this existing present moment. You actually cannot see the future, and actually the past is pretty cloudy. And here's the interesting thing about the past is that we actually change the past and rewrite history in our own mind without even intending to. Memories get fuzzy and blurry, and then they kind of collapse in our mind, yet our bodies and our emotions still hold those memories, even though our minds do not remember them with accuracy, which makes the past a kind of a dangerous thing. We actually started this entire morning segment surrounding looking at the past and examining and understanding how the past actually can color everything we see unless we go back with intention and kind of readjust our dials and ensure that I'm not living a biased life. And it takes a lot of work, because that biased, subjective lens through which we see the world is entirely predicated on the past, apart from great intention to go and adjust them otherwise. Last night on the show, we were discussing how even our own ideal, our goals in careers, our goals in finances, our goals across the board so often are even shaped by the past of what our parents told us, what society has said is the ideal, what was modeled for us in terms of relationships. And we embody that which we saw and pursue that which we were told was success. So it takes intentional time, effort, and energy to kind of I like to kind of think of it as like taking our thoughts and taking our subconscious and examining it, pulling it out and looking at it and being like, oh, is this actually true? Is this actually what I want? Are these beliefs that I actually want to govern my life? Is that target? Is that ideal one that was defined for me or by me? And so in this conversation, the reason why it's so relevant is because lesson 97 here that we're talking about is I am spirit. I am the Son of God. No body can contain my spirit, nor impose on me a limitation God created not. So, in order for us to actually not just believe this, but walk accordingly, we really do actually need to recognize that this physical self is not you and me. When you cut somebody open for heart surgery, you don't actually find their inner being. This is not our true self, so to say, this physical body. And yet we think of ourselves that way in so many ways. So how do we allow this duality of, and maybe it's not even just duality, there's like a tertiary aspect here where it's like the physical reality, the fact that I am here in this physical body, but I'm also not, like, you can't actually see me with all five senses. So what would it look like if we were to realize that we are not this physical self, and actually our spirit connects us to God, and thus that connection allows us to take that kind of, have you guys heard people say that third party perspective where you're kind of like out of body watching what's happening? That's a really, really cool place to get to observe what's going on with curiosity and just kind of watch, like, oh, that's interesting that happened. Oh, look at that over there. And even be able to kind of take that kind of third party out of body experience and look at our lives and actually say, man, God, I want to see with your eyes. To get out of the subway, walk up the stairs and look down and see past, present, future, and see through the lens of God. That very practice of kind of taking a moment, a pause to step back, step out, and take on that lens allows for us to recognize, one, we are not actually of this physical world. My Uncle Tim, God bless Uncle Tim's. Those of you who have been regulars on the show know that my sweet and wonderful Uncle Tim, 2.5 weeks ago, he didn't wake up. He was Easter evening. He went to bed with his wife, my Aunt Anne, and that was it. He was totally fine. He was 61 years old. He was a lawyer and a priest, which I just think is the coolest thing. I've never heard of such a thing. And yet I actually really believe that he is still alive, still somewhere else. But it's like, okay, how do we allow for this duality of cultivating our inner self, that which is going to live beyond this physical world, yet also take radical responsibility for the here and now? That is what I mean by the duality of the thing, because a lot of times you see over cultivation in one or the other. People over cultivate the inner self, where it actually can get to the point of what my dad has said, you're so heavenly minded, you have no earthly good, which I just think is such a funny and true, accurate phrase. And also the reverse of that. We actually are so hung up and caught up in what's going on in this physical world that we forget, oh yeah, this is not the end all be all. there's so much more. There's so much more than this physical world that we're living for, that we get to experience and know. So how do we allow for the balance of that duality? So I'm going to take a moment to jump here in the chat. Good morning. I'm so glad to see you guys. Thousand Air Radio, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. I have my coffee. I have my hot pot on for my French press. The Ron, good morning. Blue Orca, good morning. Sender V, I'm so glad to see you. It's been a little while. Good morning. Al Gore, good morning. The past is BS. Dersh, good morning. Learn from the past to better your future. That's so good. Descon Cedo, good morning. All right. There's a couple of folks. The Ron, I'm going to go ahead and hide you from the channel. It doesn't seem like you have much to offer. Chicken Biscuits, good morning. Wow, thank you. That's so encouraging. I'm so glad. Dirge, physical body is just thy vessel. It's so, so, so true. And thus must be so cared for, since it is the conduit for this physical world. Carpenter, good morning. I'm glad to see you. Nate Post, good morning. Kenneth Norval, good morning. Norval, good morning. Thank you, Dirge. He was exceptional. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, Thousand Air says. Death comes for all of us at some point. Oh, I got, okay, here we go. Best make your peace. Chicken Biscuits. Thank you. Chicken Biscuits, I just read your chat. I love you. Death is only the beginning. There is another chapter afterwards. Isn't it so true? Y'all, it's really wild. You know, this is why I appreciate these opportunities to connect with you all in the morning, because it is just our time to, I like to call it vertical alignment. So it'll be 5 years this summer where I feel like I woke up for the first time. It was like I looked in the mirror and saw myself truly for the first time in my life, 28 years old. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been living as a non-person my whole life. My whole life, I've derived my meaning and my worth and my value by what I do for everybody else, by my doing, not at all for my being. Fundamentally, intrinsically, I actually did not think that I was worth anything. And so that was a big wake up to, oh, who does God say that I am? Does God say that I'm worthy, regardless of what I do? And also, what does it look like for me to cultivate my inner being so that what I do is it's just the overflow of the health and vibrancy and life that is within me? And what's so interesting is that in this time, in me realizing that I had kind of misplaced my worth and my value, I placed it all out there. And so the way that I thought of it kind of at the time was that my compass was fundamentally broken. It was magnetized east and west rather than north. So I was looking to the right and to the left. I was looking to everyone outside of me to dictate whether I mattered, whether I was worthy, whether I could belong, whether I was loved, rather than having my compass oriented north. God, who do you say I am? What is my mission? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Who am I? And in that reorientation, man, y'all, it's been so transformational, you know, to what we're talking about, the physical body, is that yes, cultivate that. But honestly, I really believe it's after we've done the work to really orient ourselves vertically first, to know at the hierarchy, yes, who do I want to be? What do I love? What brings me joy? And then at the top of the hierarchy is, okay, ultimately, what does God say? Who does he say I am? What is his reason for me being here? Y'all, it's easy to get stuck in depression. It's easy to get stuck in the past. It's easy to get stuck even in the present of what is this current circumstance of our life. But if we were to step outside, to take that third-party perspective, to examine life and look at it through the lens of God, I believe every single one of us will find a deeper reason, a deeper meaning for why our lives are the very way that it is right now. There's a reason. It doesn't mean, here's the thing. I don't believe that the end justify the means. I don't think, well, I don't think that God is a cruel God. And so the things that happen that are so deeply painful, it's not like God sitting there like, well, there's going to be something good that happens. No, I think that actually there is a grieving alongside with us. I think that God was very much present at those funerals over the last 2 weeks. And man, what a blessing that is, that we have a God who can sympathize with us in our weakness and in our grief and in our pain. And he knows it. Like, that is one of the coolest things. And if I also believe that God is good, I believe that he can redeem. And that is the power of this in so many ways, is that God can very well redeem that which was and is broken. And so now I can grieve with hope, grieve with vertical alignment, where I'm seeing the horizontal, the pardon my French, but the shit that's happening. And I can know vertically there is hope, there is good that's going to come, there is redemption, whether it's in this physical life or on the other side of it. And so it's this concept of, we are not ones who grieve without hope. So yes, we need to move through the grieving process. Yes, we need to observe the reality of the horizontal and not shut our eyes and close ourselves off from what's going on here. It is with the awareness and with the knowledge that this isn't the end, that this physical world is just a small blip on the radar. Jumping back here in the chat. Wayfarrow, good morning. I'm glad to see you. Musky CR, good morning. Sammy, I'm so glad to see you. Oh, you're getting transferred this morning. Sammy, I'm so glad you made your note. Please don't tell your nurses, Sammy. So for those of you who don't know Sammy, he is a friend of the Knowing Show. Sammy, if you would like your nurses to reach out to me, I would love to have a conversation with you. I don't normally do that, but I would love to chat with you and just see how you're doing. So please do have them reach out to me. They can email me at ChristeneMarie.com. M. Dot, good morning. We're the same age. Oh, I love that. Xavier Pittman, good morning. Man in the Hat, good morning. Thousand Air says, as soon as you start respecting yourself as much as you do, others really change. Other things really change for the better. I completely agree. Lata Delta, good morning. Dolphin, good morning. Dirge, we are blindsided by all the foolishness, must be able to see everything for what it is, not for what other people make it out to be. I think that that's such a poignant, honestly, it's such a poignant observation. Hold on, I'm plugging in my Fitbit. I figured I might as well charge it while I'm sitting here. Also, for those of you who are just joining, we're going to be doing a challenge on, is it charging? It's charging, yay. We're going to be doing a 61-day challenge starting on next Friday, but we're all meeting this Sunday. If anybody wants to join, a lot of people are picking physical fitness goals of like one thing that they're going to do every day. I actually don't know what mine's going to be yet, so I'm excited for that. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can be, getting vertically aligned every day. So to this point about vertical alignment. So there's the practice of vertical alignment and the principle of it. The principle of vertical alignment is orienting my self, soul, spirit, and really bringing it into subservience and into alignment. It's not just our inner being, but also our behaviors, our actions, our words, our thoughts, and bringing everything into alignment under the hierarchy of who do I want to be? What is my ideal? And then who does God say that I am? So that I really am the one in the driver's seat. And that's so important because it is so easy to live on default. So then the practice of vertical alignment every morning, I actually have an acronym aligned for it, ALIGN. A is awakening the physical body. And usually that's actually through exercise or just deep breathing or just kind of like tuning in, like, good morning, body, how are you? And just kind of getting a sense, because our body really does, to use the book's title, keep the score. Our body holds data. And so if our body is remembering something or even being activated by something, it's going to impact our emotions that then impact our brain. Because if we have high stress levels, it impacts us on an emotional level to then be depressed or anxious. And then that shuts off, that high cortisol actually shuts off our short-term memory, which means that we're thrown into the past, bring the past into this present moment. And then that's what really colors and clouds our ability to see reality right here, right now, for what it really is. So the practice of vertical alignment, A is awaken. L is listen, listening to the soul. How am I doing? What do my emotions have to say? Am I good? And then I is illuminate. Now, the physical body and our emotional state, they're not the end all be all. It's important to check in and know what's going on. And actually, I think we need a lot more of that. It's kind of like when we've got our kids and we're helping our kids understand, okay, you're screaming, but we're not going to keep screaming. And so I is illuminating the truth. What is more true than what these emotions tell me, than what the past tells me? And then G is grow. So G is grow. Really, really taking time and intention to identify areas in our life that frankly need attention, that need that TLC, and also just intentional sitting with for the expansion of our soul, our mind, our body, our habits, whatever it may be. And a lot of times we actually get those G moments from what other people have to say. What's the feedback we're getting in our lives from those we love? Where are we not healthy? It's our time to look in the mirror. And then N is navigate. How do I now take this desire to grow and integrate it into my day? So this is why we do it daily, vertical alignment on a daily basis, because really this practice is something that it just brings us back into a state of, oh yeah, conscious. I'm now aware. Awareness is the first step to emotional intelligence. And it's just being aware, being awake, rather than being so oriented to the right and to the left and having everyone else tell us how to live, having everyone else be the one effectively in our own driver's seat. It's kind of a reclamation of sorts, this process of vertical alignment. So with that, I'm going to jump back here in the chat. Wallace Thomas, good morning. User US, good morning. Sammy, thank you so much I love that. He says, please know me and my nurses pray for your voice every day with my connections. Thank you so much for praying. I feel so grateful. That really is such a blessing. Y'all, I'm hoping that the Knowing Show is just the beginning. I got notified yesterday that my book is moving into the proofreading phase, and I'm excited to start the community here. I needed to play catch up this week after being out for 3 weeks. So I'm hopeful that next week and even this weekend will prove to be very useful in terms of launching the community. So I'm excited about that. I'm just scrolling down. Alexander, thank you. Good to see you. R.I.P. Dutton, good morning. Dave Russell, good morning. Adag, good morning. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you're back. Dilbert, good morning. Will Canada, good morning. Buzzy Lumpkins, ooh. Says, what is the biggest regret of your life? Come back and maybe we'll talk about that. 1000 Air Radio, high cortisol shuts down short-term memory. I need to look into that. Tell me what you find. I had a very, very wise man on the show who taught me that, and it just blew my mind. 1000 Air, if you're interested, go back and watch the one with Brian Post. That conversation was, it was probably a couple months ago. But if you look up Brian Post, Bryan, he taught me all about that, and it just blew my mind. So it was one of my favorite conversations. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining today. I am going to jump off and finish. I'm actually going to go do my vertical alignment. So I'm going to go do that. Thank you all so much for joining. If you all would like, there's two things if you guys want to, and both are just totally if it would serve you. The 61-day challenge, we're starting this Sunday. If anyone would like to join, I'll drop the link. We're meeting this Sunday, but we're starting on May 1st. If anyone wants to join tonight, we're actually going to be talking deeper about what potentially could be your goal or like your one thing for it. So I'm excited about that. I'll drop that here in the chat. And then the other thing is, if you actually are interested in vertical alignment, at my birthday last summer, I went ahead and created a whole website. I had my team create a website, and 21 days of vertical alignments. So, and I actually think I might end up recording them at some point. There's 21 days of vertical alignments, which are just prompts that really help us kind of go deeper. So if you're interested in that, it's all free. It was just my gift. So if you guys would like to join, I would love to have you. But in the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will see you tonight at 8:30 p.m. Let me actually check my calendar. We'll go live at 8 p.m. tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll go live and we'll finish our conversation from last night. So excited to see you all. I will see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, and I will see you soon. Have a